Welcome to VTC's tutorial on Microsoft Visual Basic 2008. My name is Art Lee. I have over 25 years experience in the IT field, either as a programmer or college instructor. I have authored other tutorials for VTC, including earlier versions of Visual Basic, as well as C++ programming. This tutorial will focus on Microsoft's Visual Basic 2008, which is actually version 9 of the Visual Basic language. However, beginning with the 2003 edition, Microsoft chose to use year numbers rather than a consecutive version number. You may, however, see this version referenced as version 9 rather than VB 2008. Visual Basic.NET is an object-oriented version of the popular Visual Basic programming language that was introduced originally in the early 1990s. The .NET refers to the updated versions of Visual Basic, or simply VB, that is based on the Microsoft .NET framework. The 2008 version of Visual Basic uses the most recent version of the .NET framework, which is .NET Framework 3.5. The role of the .NET framework will be discussed in more detail in a separate movie. Visual Basic 2008 is classified as a Rapid Application Development, or RAD, software tool. Rapid Application Development involves a process of development that encourages the quick construction of prototypes. Prototypes will allow the VB programmer to communicate more effectively with the client to ensure that the application being developed will indeed serve the intended purpose. It encompasses a variety of techniques aimed at speeding application development, such as the use of web application frameworks and other types of software frameworks. It is also important to realize that Visual Basic 2008 is part of the Visual Studio environment. Included as part of the Visual Studio package are other languages such as Visual C++, Visual C#, and JavaScript. The advantage here is that once you learn one of the Visual Studio languages, you will discover that many similarities in other languages. The key is that the IDE, or Integrated Development Environment, remains constant as you move from one language to the next. Throughout this tutorial, you will learn how to work in the Visual Basic 2008 environment, which will allow you to create VB applications that require the use of a variety of controls, calculations, loops, and many other programming structures. Tips on debugging, making user-friendly applications, and deploying your finished products will be demonstrated. As appropriate, there will be some sample work files for you to access and work with as you learn the Visual Basic language. So let's get started exploring Visual Basic 2008.